Star Wars 7x7, episode 2225. Today we're going to talk about what went down between Poe Dameron and Zorii Bliss that made the blood so bad between them when we saw them together in the Rise of Skywalker. Punch it! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy, and thank you so much for joining me for it. So we're going to go into spoiler territory for Poe Dameron Freefall, the new novel by Alex Segura. I'm going to manage to give you spoilers without necessarily spoiling the entirety of the climax of the novel, but what we're going to talk about bears on that climax, and certainly bears on the revelation of how things went so terribly wrong between Poe Dameron and Zorii Bliss. So this is it. This is your last warning. We're going to dive in. As I told you in the non-spoiler review of Poe Dameron Freefall, Poe goes on a series of adventures, and this series of adventures with the Spice Runners of Kijimi includes Zorii, and they get to know each other. But part of the challenge for Poe's growth is that as he encounters situations, he starts running up against different ethical challenges. Like it starts out, for example, when he is first leaving Yavin 4 with the Spice Runners, there are New Republic ships that come after them, and he says, yeah, don't fire on them or don't, try to kill them. Like, those are good people in there, which has the Spice Runners raising their eyebrows and whatnot. And these sorts of ethical boundaries that Poe has for himself, they become pressured in different ways, not just that one, but other ones as well. And as the novel progresses, and as Zorii and Poe grow closer to each other, and yes, there is a romantic entanglement, Zorii basically tells him, look, I'm in this Spice Runners business for life, and if you're going to be in this life as well, then you need to get over these various ethical and moral issues that you have with what we're doing and what we have to do as we do our jobs as Spice Runners. And so in the climactic moments of the story where Zorii and Poe are on a mission for the Spice Runners, it's funny that throughout the novel, because they don't necessarily trust Poe, and that trust develops over time, but a lot of times they keep him in the dark about the missions that he's going on. They just tell him enough of what they need him to know for them to be able to accomplish their mission, and it kind of happens with this one as well. But when Poe finally finds out what the mission is and what he's going to be required to do or be a part of, he draws a line and he says, nope, this is it, I can't do this. And I'm not going to tell you what this is, because ultimately you may listen to this show and decide, oh, I guess I want to read the novel after all. It sounds kind of interesting. And so I'd like to at least preserve some of the surprise for you. But anyway, so they fight, and ultimately Poe is able to knock Zorii out, or have her knocked out for all intents and purposes. And that is almost the end of their association, but Poe later on in this climax gets into a very precarious situation where he is almost about to be killed, and Zorii comes to his rescue, but basically says, you better run and don't ever let me catch you here again. And that is, probably attributed at least to the relationship that they developed over time and the fact that they had saved each other's hides from time to time. And so maybe she felt like she owed him that much, but basically said, get out of here and don't ever let me see your face again. And so, yeah, that was, in theory, what he was supposed to do. But then 18 years later, Poe finds himself on Kijimi again, and man, oh man, Zorii Bliss has not let that grudge go, to be sure. So I think that gives you enough to inform your next viewing of The Rise of Skywalker and deepen your appreciation for their dynamic. And I will tell you one other thing that is sort of a vague clue about this whole situation, but before I do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Audible. That's sw7x7.com/audible for a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. That's the thing where if it turns out that you like the service so much and you decide to become a subscriber to it, then we get a little referral fee, and it helps keep the lights on and the web hosting paid and all that fun stuff. But there's really cool stuff happening in these audiobooks, and we've talked about them from time to time on the show. So we will talk about the audiobook version of Freefall very soon, in fact. But for now, if you would like to take advantage of this trial, then by all means go to sw7x7.com/audible for a free trial and a free audiobook download. All right, so the little hint to things that I want to give you is that the cover of Freefall depicts Poe Dameron, and it also depicts Zorii Bliss. Or at least that's what you are meant to believe, because it turns out that the character that you were seeing on the cover of the Poe Dameron Freefall novel is not, in fact, Zorii Bliss. There is somebody else in that outfit. It's a woman named Ziva, who is, in fact, at the time of the novel, the leader of the Spice Runners of Kijimi, and so when you see Zorii Bliss wearing that outfit in the Rise of Skywalker, that is indicative of her being the leader of the Spice Runners of Kijimi. But Ziva and Zorii have their own relationship, and that is something that happens to be another kept secret in the novel that isn't revealed until much farther into the whole storytelling situation, and we're going to leave that out of here to keep it as non-spoilery as possible. And that is where we are going to leave things for this episode of the show. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.